Hello, and welcome to another episode of Arklay Zoo. We're going to start off building or finishing the habitat for our Nile Monitors. As you can see, I already built the shelter. Now we're just placing the enrichment items. And then we're going to move on to our elephants. Now, unfortunately, my save file is either corrupted or who knows. Unfortunately, I can no longer open this zoo. So we have this episode and the next two episodes that I already have footage recorded for, and then that's it for Arklay Zoo. Unfortunately, we just cannot access it. So right now I'm in the process of putting plans together for our next zoo, and I'll give you probably more information on that in the final episode. But moving right along, so we're doing our Nile Monitors, and like I said, then we're going to move on, I believe, to the elephants. We're also doing the food court on this side, and then we have the final section of this episode, which is better left until it starts. You'll see why. So yeah, I gotta say that I'm not alone in this whole save file not being able to open thing. And from everything that I've read, Frontier has said, oh, sorry, nothing we can do when people have opened a ticket for it. So I didn't even bother. Now, a lot of people were like, well, maybe it's your CPU that can't handle it, or your RAM, or whatever, and I checked, and no, it's not. And then I also installed it on a better computer. My nephew's computer is way better than mine, newer I should say, and on his it wouldn't even load. So I know it's not the computer, and I know it's something happened within the game. Now a lot of people are saying that it might be that we had too many guests, and if you look right now, it's showing almost 4,000 guests in the park now, and that's, 2 episodes away from what it will be, which I haven't looked at that footage yet to see. So it is possible that I just had too many people. So one of the things going forward is I'm going to turn on the limit guest function and probably cap it at either 3,500 or 4,000. Unfortunately, that's just how it's going to be. And luckily, playing in sandbox mode, we won't have a money issue, so we can limit our guests. So that's cool. So yeah, no, I'm very, very disappointed, really upset. All this hard work, as you can see, I put not just, the work in, but that there's a passion behind me basically playing this game, I just, I'm really, really pissed. I had just built the most elaborate and detailed build I had ever built in this or Planet Coaster, and it crashes basically. And that's one of the things that happened first too, is I was placing paths down, just paths in the new habitat I was making, which you'll see in episode 7, and it crashed just placing the paths, and it crashed on me 2 or 3 times. And then finally, I got it in, and 7, what I had to do is I had to go into the previous save file, not the autosave, and it would load again. So I was having this issue beforehand, but now it's just, it won't load, period. The autosave, the regular save, nothing will load. And, oh, man. So anyways, alright, let's see where we are now. Yes, working with this wonderful path. And of course, then having to box up an animal, do the water again. It's just, that's the one thing I hate, is once you set the water down, if the path is near it, you can't adjust it or fix it, or even just change the texture of the path. It's just, oy. Alright, now we're on to the food court. I already placed down the buildings and the umbrellas off camera. And one thing that I really wish that they would do with these tables and the benches and the bins is make them plottable for the grid. Like everything else is like these umbrellas were a snap to do, literally, because they snapped into place. Once it just had to copy paste, but you can't do that with the picnic tables, the benches, the bins, anything like that. So that would be one thing that I would suggest to improve on, is to have them both, because you can place them, like I did with the tables, you can place them anywhere within, really anywhere, the grass, the path, anything. But I would make it so you had the option to place them on the grid. And now we're setting up our food court and putting up the signage and everything. I believe it was in the last food court that I started doing stuff on the sides instead of above. And unfortunately, with the East Asia style, the above doesn't work as well as it should, because the awning kind of obscures it, and I didn't want to get rid of the awnings because I like them. And of course, now we go with the foliage, which, going with the style, bamboos and everything are a lot better. So yeah, and I just wanted to obscure the buildings a little bit and then put, the stuff in between. So yeah. So we're going to take a break here from talking. I'm going to let you guys go ahead and just watch for a minute, and I shall return. All right, and we're coming up into the final section, quote unquote, of the video here. And one of the things that I did was I put 3 areas, which actually winds up being 5 different species in a row, and then I made a sign for the area, and here is the sign: lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my. My little homage to Wizard of Oz, which was the last play that I directed. Also very special in my family. My cousin absolutely loves the movie. It was one of my uncle's favorites, and stuff. So yeah, one of the things that I wanted to do here with this area is I wanted to make my own yellow brick road texture. And that's something that I might think about doing for the next zoo, or maybe just a one-off build. Because the next zoo, I don't know if I'm going to go for as random of a layout as I have with Arklay Zoo. I'm starting to pre-plan just a little bit more than I did with this one. And also, I mean, that comes with, you know, the learning of how everything functions and all this stuff, because this zoo, I pretty much, you know, I played around a little bit with the tutorials when it first came out in November, and then I just jumped right on into this. So I've learned a little bit of what to do, what not to do, and I've also been watching other videos from people like $2.20, Delay Designer, or no, Delay Designer. Good Lord, that's a hard name to say. And then a bunch of other people, Geekism and the Gaming Beaver. I've been watching a lot of their videos, and just watching them has inspired me. Delay Designer inspired me to do what you'll see in episode 7. And yes, I'm kind of keeping it hush-hush, but if you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, my personal pages, I have teased what I worked on at the very end there. And actually, that habitat that I did work on will be placed in the new zoo, because luckily I saved it as a blueprint. And I've just been working on it. I actually built it in a separate save file. So that's good. But anyways, yeah, no, all these YouTubers and stuff I've been watching, and I've been getting inspiration, and I've been watching their tutorials on stuff, so I've learned quite a bit of new stuff to move forward. Originally, the plan was to only have 3 separate areas, but then I realized there were 2 types of tigers. There's multiple types of bears, but there was 2 that I wanted right there. Now there's even more types because the Arctic DLC pack with the polar bears, but I've been advised by watching these YouTube videos against using polar bears in certain climates. One of the things that I will have to do before I place down any type of habitats for polar bears or reindeers or anything like that is probably to go in and play the career scenarios that have the Arctic theming, so that way I can kind of learn and stuff like that, as well as watch YouTube videos, you know, from the YouTubers I mentioned earlier that have done it. But yeah, so we just put together the last of the tigers, and now we're working on our grizzlies, I believe, and stuff, and just trying to make it really cool. I love the fact that a lot of these you can oversaturate the habitat with plants. I absolutely love that, because you know me. And then I downloaded this what are they called? Shelter. I downloaded the shelter from the workshop. I will have to go grab the link for that and put it in the description, of course. But it's just a beautiful kind of North American grizzly bear type of a shelter, which is just pretty darn awesome and stuff. But I just love the fact that this time around I used a bunch of colors. Like, I didn't just use green trees. I've got the what are those, like sugar maples, I think, or something like that, you know, and I've been using the cherry blossom trees and the Japanese maples and stuff like that. So now, originally the problem is I had a grizzly bear in the Formosan bear habitat. So I started to just, I can mirror the grizzly bears and do this and that, and that's why I wound up deleting the cave that I had made, because I was going to put the shelter in again. And yeah, that wouldn't have worked. That would have been bad. So now we're putting in the correct items. One of the things, though, that I did kind of get from watching other YouTubers is that as long as you have everything for your animals at 100%, you can get away with placing too many plants. So I'll have to look into that, and which animals, you know, for example, the flamingos. I just watched a part of a series done by 4 different YouTubers, including Delay Designer and Mike Sheets. And the last episode at time of this recording was Mike Sheets doing the flamingo area, and it is oversaturated with plants and stuff, but the animals are still happy. They don't like that there's a ton of plants, but they're still dealing with it. And just some of this stuff, oh man, if you have a chance, go check these people out, especially Delay Designer and Mike Sheets, because they're just, I'll link their channels in the description. They're just inspiring, totally inspiring. Mike Sheets does a lot of the foliage work and stuff, and that's just, you know me, oh man. And Delay Designer is just awesome at designing, areas and stuff. It's awesome. And then there's other people within that, and I know for sure on Delay Designer's page, she's got the playlist for the series that the 4 YouTubers are working on, Arklay Zoo, and it is just, it's awesome. Some of the stuff they're doing, and they just started it not that long ago, just before the holidays, I believe. So yeah. All right, so I'm gonna back out here for a second, and I shall return. Ah, yes, the lion habitat. This is one of the things I was most excited about, because you can have so many in the habitat, in the pride, you would say, and it's just it's awesome. It's just so cool. So one of the things that I knew I wanted to do, which everyone seems to be doing, which I know, I get it, okay, fine, is a kind of pride rock type thing. And one of the things I really wish I would have done is to have done more rock work on the outside of the cave, other than just this piece I'm working on here. Now, I didn't replicate the Disney Pride Rock exactly, but I wanted that excuse me sorry about that. I wanted that kind of overall aesthetic and shape. And I just wanted, I wanted them to get up on there. I don't know, and I guess we'll never know now, if they ever did, especially after me creating this ramp and tunnel kind of thing. But I did face the outside here with the cladding. And after, like I this is before I watched a bunch of people's YouTubes. I know I'm getting kind of fanboy over here, but yeah, I am looking back on this. It's not the best at all. Not bad for a somewhat beginner. I call myself that just because I don't, or haven't really gone into a lot of detail on my builds. That's something that is going to change with the next zoo, and maybe even my next theme park, if I ever stray away from Wonderland's Park and Planet Coaster. But it's not bad. I did, rotate and change up the rocks. I didn't just use one rock type. But what I could have done is rotated them a little better, especially some of the ones that are, more uniform, and different colors. I could have used different rock typings. But, you know, like I said, lesson learned. We know what to do next time. So yeah, but I mean, I was happy at first the way this turned out. It looks really good. I just wish I'd covered the rest of it and maybe a little bit of the inside. But que sera, sera. Let's see here. We are actually at the end of the episode. Unfortunately, since the save file is no longer, we can no longer do live plays. So this is it. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I'm Gamer5150. I also go by Steven. And I hope you have a wonderful day. Also, please hit that like button if you like this episode. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. Go ahead and take a look at some of those other YouTubers. And as always, like I said, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.